Hi friends, my name is Amy Shroyer and I've been involved in classical conversations for the last 11 years. We're moving into our 12th year with the Kernersville community. I have a lot of love for this program. When we started homeschooling, we had just moved to North Carolina and I had some background experience working in a classical model preparatory school in Atlanta teaching classical music classes for kids. And I remember thinking, pre having children of our own, man, that would be amazing to have that kind of an education. I loved the classical model, but it was a very expensive school and I always wondered, will we be able to afford that someday? And Mike and I were working at a church here in North Carolina and a family visited, and in getting to know them and hearing about their children, we very quickly learned about classical conversations. It made all of the alarms go off inside of me, like, wow, this sounds like the preparatory school and the classical model. I wonder if we could do that. So I asked, how do we get involved, and called the director that day. It was 2 weeks before the program started and they had one opening for an abecedarian, preferably a boy. And I was like, that is for us. Please sign us up and we will get started right away. In that first year, something happened with his tutor and they asked if I would take over tutoring that class at the Christmas break. And so I jumped literally right in. And if you've seen any of my other videos, then you know that sing-songy and memorizing and marching around a room and interplay is very fun for me. It's a very natural expression of memorizing knowledge and making it fun for kids. So it was a lot of fun and a great fit for our family. Unknown to us, we had joined the original CC campus and we were so honored to be a part. We saw these moms who were years ahead of us with students that were years ahead of our own, and I just wanted them to pour in to me. I just wanted to kind of sit at their feet and learn. And we went through a few directors in those early days for us, and as these transitions were happening, there was also a transitioning happening within the company where they were going from a smaller, more locally based school resource to a global movement. So there were growing pains that happened because of that expansive growth in a very rapid amount of time. There were a few years in there where Mike and I held our ground, and we would have conversations at home and say, is it worth staying and being a part of change? And the answer was always yes. We really developed friendships with other parents who were on the same pursuit, and we decided and made alliances with each other and said, relationship is way more important. We're going to stick this out. In fact, we're going to stay in this together and see challenge programs rise out of this community, because at that time, a lot of other communities in the area had great challenge programs, and so students would get to a point of a challenge need and then leave our campus, and we would see these amazing families leave our campus. So those same families that we formed a friendship relational alliance with, we all decided we're gonna stick it through for the challenge years too, and we did. So I'm really excited to say that in our 11th year, our campus had abecedarian all the way through Challenge 4. And Heather Shirley even came back to our campus and directed Challenge 4 and is going to be turning that over to her son, who was one of those older kids that I looked up to so much when we first joined. So it's kind of come around full circle. I've noticed that in the CC official Facebook page and in different areas, we've kind of been under attack and on the defense all the time. And I was thinking, we need to do something to get ourselves on the offense and not offense, We don't need to be offended. We need to get on the offense. And how do we do that? And the answer is gratitude. The answer is, instead of looking at things that we don't like or wish were better or see someone over here doing something a certain way, we need to hold our ground in gratitude and celebration. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my own family and our story and the things that I'm so grateful for in this 11, almost 12-year journey for us. And I hope that you'll join me in sharing your story of gratitude and the things that you see as a win and as a fit and as a blessing, because it is time for us. Gratitude and complaining can't hold the same place. You have one or you have the other. And I would rather choose gratitude any day and positivity. So what do I love about this program? I love that for us, it frameworked our education and gave this sweeping worldview that aligned the sciences with the history of the time and what was happening in the arts, and how you could see political changes and how societies navigated and shaped the culture in the world because of what was going on. And it's so great to be able to connect all of the dots and see how things go back to God and point to Him and from Him, and how all of the subjects point one to another. And it gives us this well-rounded education that we can't get in other places very easily. And we get the opportunity to foster and have these conversations. We get to set the table with our children and have conversations that surround history and science and culture. Through the challenge years, they really get deep, and the foundation years set up such richness for those challenge discussions. If they already have that information in there, then the wording and stuff is familiar, and now they get to decorate it and pull it out and find out, well, wow, that's what that meant when I learned that, and form ideas and become thinkers and communicators. And through the Essentials program, they get to become well-versed writers and communicators and orators and great public speakers. I love the Essentials program tremendously, and I love that light bulbs go off in the parents, because as we teach to the parents and then they influence their children, their entire home rises to a new level. There's so many things that I love about this program. I had the opportunity to support other directors. We had 3 very different directors in those early years, and they left for various reasons. And as you know, sometimes a director will leave and a bunch of people will go with them. And sometimes a director will leave because of a move or whatever. And sometimes there's positive talk while a director's in place, and sometimes there's murmurs. And we need to be above that and silence the murmurs by pointing out what we're thankful for and celebrating at all times. So we were a part of fostering relationships. And I think that sometimes we need to remember that, yes, the education is needed and the education is great, but even more so, the relationships of doing hard things and raising our children together and being on this pursuit is going to solidify so much more that we can't buy. So my husband ended up taking the directorship, and when he directed, he was not going to be the typical little red hen CC director. He was just not. He wasn't going to do everything and take pride in doing everything for everyone. And so he built a team approach. And after his team approach was thriving and getting to the point where people were rising up as moms and as tutors and we were getting dads involved, and it was exciting. During that time, he suddenly passed away and I took over the directing. And so after he had set that stage, it was precious, because not only did it hold our family together more than any other people group in our lives, that became our family, our well of strength and support became our CC community, because we were used to, locking arms and joining alongside each other for hard things. So to go through those challenges of those early years and months of losing Mike, we were all in it together, and we grew, and we just grew so much as a people and as individuals and as individual families. And we had very rich conversations surrounding eternity, and it really shaped, when you lose someone that you love, a lot of what we argue about is not important at all anymore. So what that did for our community was it put perspective into the most important things of the truest eternal value of what is true and good and beautiful. And so as I had a staff that held my arms up high and helped me lead well, I began to invest more in them. So my last year directing, I invested in the Strengths Finder program, and it's Gallup put it out, and it's where you're learning how to walk and lead in your wheelhouse, basically. And so I had all of our staff, and we invited the challenge directors to do it as well. It was $45 a person to have the coach come in, and we got the test and the personal coaching with an actual StrengthsFinder official. And I had each person pay 10 of that, and I supplied the rest. It was so well worth it, because things that we didn't quite understand about each other that caused different personalities to rub the wrong way, or to wonder, well, why is Amy leading this way when another director, a few directors ago did it so much better, or whatever. We got to see, well, this is why. This is how she's wired, and those other things don't come as naturally. So if someone wants it done that way, then let's find the person who could do that. And we began to lean in on each other even more. Well, then I was able to turn over this very positive group of leaders, team leadership, to our current director, Jennifer Thoman. And it's really great because she was like a shadow to me. And then I became like a shadow to her, a shadow of support. And it's super encouraging to be in a community where there can be a leadership exchange with the old leader and the new leader both present and still encouraging one another. That's not always the case. And so we got to see that as a community, and that was something to celebrate. Well, this year was my last year of the program because my daughter has ended her Foundations and Essentials career, and she was in the Masters 2 class. So I got to tutor her Masters 2 class, and we had the most fun. So at Christmas time, my gift to the class was the kid version of the StrengthsFinder from Gallup. So when everyone came back, we had their names all over the walls with their top 3 talents. And you can be in the balcony of a talent or in the basement of the talent. And learning how to be in the balcony and encourage each other and support each other was such a gift, because they're going to walk through incredible challenges in the challenge program together. So I wanted to come in not to say this is the way communities should run by any means. You have your way, we have our way. We all have different ways of doing what we do for the same goal and the same mission and purpose, which is to know God and to make Him known. But I do want to encourage every community leader out there to focus on relationships. We are all about conversations, right? Mike used to say that he was not ever afraid of an uncomfortable conversation. He would say we have classical conversations, we have educational conversations, we have spiritual conversations. Sometimes we need to have uncomfortable conversations. And if there's an uncomfortable conversation, it doesn't need to happen like this in gossip or in the hallways or behind closed doors. It needs to happen with the director so that things can be brought out into the light and handled. And instead of just making a new policy, have a conversation. Because then if someone feels heard and there is a move in a positive direction, it's better for the whole community at large, and relationships are strengthened. So I would encourage you to have conversations. I would encourage you to lift others up and build up the things that you are most thankful for. Ask intentional questions. What is one thing that you love about this program? What is one thing that has shaped your family and being a part of this program? What is something that was a win in your home this week? What is something that was a win that we can celebrate from this last school year that will move you into the future a better person because this happened? There are great things to celebrate, and I would love to hear yours under this post. Finally, I just want to say, along with celebrating, to foster relationships, how do we do that? Well, I just want to give you a few ideas that our community has done. We have a mom's night on a regular basis, and it may have a few moms present or it may have a large turnout. Numbers don't dictate the success stamp, right? It's whoever is there is going to connect relationally with other moms, and that's always a win. So we've done things as elaborate as dinners at a tea room, and we've done things as simple as being in someone's home who has the gift of hospitality and sitting at a table painting each other's fingernails and talking about school and talking about life. It's not always about school, right? So we have a team of moms who love to plan field trips, and they try to coincide them with the content of material that we're studying. And if they can't, that's okay. We can still find things in the community to do. We try to do one a month, and those have improved year after year after year. And in attendance, it might be that we gather at a park and we just play, or it may be a planetarium or a science center, or whatever, you name it. There are lots of things to do out and about in the community. And we've even done entrepreneurial days where kids who love to make things and bake things come together and sell their stuff to each other, and that's a lot of fun. We did something called Biz Town, and that was exciting, and the kids got to run a city. We had job interviews, and we got to see their spiritual strengths come into play in those job interviews and how they executed their jobs for a day. And then coming back into the classical classroom during presentation time, as people were talking about their experiences and their jobs, we got to ask them, well, how did you see your spirit of competing in play in that role? Or how was your ability to care for others utilized in your job that day? Or what could you improve? How did you see that? What do you, did you feel like you were in your gift set in that role? Or do you think maybe you would like a different job next time? It was awesome. So maybe you have one of those in your area. We also have had family nights, family days. We do a field day once a year. Our field day is coming up this Wednesday, and we have all kinds of Olympic type activities, but we also have big, bubble blowing and hula hooping and things like that aren't so competitive, and that's a lot of fun. Anything that we can do to get together, and if it doesn't work as a whole community all the time. Today, my Master's 2 class met at the bowling alley, and we spent 2 hours bowling, and that was awesome. And the kids just kept saying, when are we going to do this again? When are we going to get together again? So that's a win. And we encourage each individual classroom to get together every now and then and do something fun to foster relational connection. So I hope that you'll consider doing more of that if you don't already, because it will strengthen your community, and especially if when you're together, you talk about positive things that you are thankful for. Now, do people need to vent in their trials in life and their trials as a homeschool parent? Yes. But what are we to do? We are to build up and to feed life. And if you're focused on right and wrong and how this person did it and what you're unhappy with about this person, stop it. Focus on what's going to produce and bring life into the situation. And starting here, I would like to get on the offense and stop being on the defense. And the offense, not being offense and being offended, but being a person of gratitude. So please post your stories. What was your win this year? What kind of a win will take you into the next year and breathe life into your community? I thought that my time directing and leading and tutoring was coming to a close, and now I've been asked to breathe some life as a director into a campus that has been started, it's 2 years old, and it's struggling right now, and I'm really excited. I met these young families the other day, and it reminds me of when J. Michael, my son, was an abecedarian. So it's going to be a lot of fun breathing life into them, and I've already talked to them about having someone ready to shadow me so that they can direct and move that whole community forward into a new season. So if you're in that type of a situation where you feel burnt out, please post your questions, post your comments. We would love to revive and re-energize you and see your community thrive, because it can. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, and we've even been through tragic loss, and we're still together and stronger than ever. So whatever we can do to help serve you, please let us know. This is a fantastic program, and what makes it fantastic are the people. So connect with your people, breathe life into each other, and let's change the world. We already are. We're creating and energizing thinkers and influencers who are going to know God more and make him known in this world. Have a fantastic practicum season. Soak it all in. This is my 12th year, and instead of walking in and saying, oh, another practicum season, I'm saying, how can this be the best practicum season that I have yet experienced, right? So it's all a mindset, and we want to walk in with enthusiasm in what is possible and not look back in the past, but look toward the future and how we can bring life and see something restored and revived and renewed inside of us, because homeschooling is hard. I'm not gonna lie, and we can breathe life into each other. So have a great next season and have a great practicum season, and thank you so much for taking time to listen and watch this video. I hope that it has inspired you to walk in gratitude. Thank you.